As your course starts progressing, one of the things that you might notice is that as it's going on, that students become less and less engaged. So we want to go over some strategies that you can use in order to re-engage your online students. If we remember from our earlier video, we want to make sure that we're remaining a credible source for our students, that they feel like they belong in our classroom. We want them to think that they can do the work that we are presenting them, and that with effort they can succeed with that work, and that the work is important. And so, as I mentioned just a second ago, that can kind of fade depending on how our course is set up. So some strategies that I've used in the online classroom that I've seen success with, the first one being discussion-based assessments. Now this can be something you do over a video feed, or something you just do on the telephone. If you have students that don't feel comfortable, especially if you're dealing with some younger students, I've taught freshmen in high school, and some of them don't quite feel comfortable having a one-on-one phone conversation at the beginning, and hopefully you can build up to that. But with those students, you might have a text exchange where you ask some questions, or you can even do emails back and forth. It just won't be quite as synchronous. Now, the idea with doing it this way, if you're doing like an email or text, might not be to really see exactly what they know and assessing that they're not looking up the answers, but the idea is that you're talking about the content that's in the course and you're getting them re-engaged with what the material is about. And also, again, remember, we really want to stress the importance of them knowing that there's another individual on the other line. So again, these discussion-based assessments could be video chat where you can see the student. Remember, we don't really want to force our students to turn on their camera, especially if they're elementary age students. It might be a little different in a college setting, but elementary and high school, we want to be aware of their situation. But video, telephone chats, text, email, whatever mode that you feel comfortable communicating with your students. But these discussion-based assessments are requirements for the course, and so that causes your students to have to engage with you in that discussion. And for me, it becomes a really good opportunity to really get them re-energized about the material that we've been covering. Another strategy that you can use is just a straight video conference. You could set it up so that you're one-on-one with them, obviously, or you could do it in small group settings. And with this video conference, it doesn't always have to be about the course. Sometimes it's just giving them an opportunity to discuss and communicate with other people in the course or with you, much like we would do in our classroom. In a face-to-face classroom, there's a lot of opportunity for discussion. And in that discussion, a lot of times students aren't necessarily talking about the content that they've been going over, but they're trying to build a relationship with their peers and with you. And using video conferencing periodically throughout your course can give you an opportunity to help build that relationship and to work with your students on making sure that they know and feel like that relationship matters to them, and that gives them that sense of belonging that we talked about earlier. Another great strategy is to implement set office hours. So just like you would do as a professor with in-face students, or as a prep period maybe for a high school or elementary teacher, when you're teaching online, you need to dedicate or set aside so many hours a week that you will be available so that they have an opportunity to give you a call, video chat with you, whatever it is. Now, in my experience, I haven't had as many students use them as I originally expected, but I do know that having that set time frame lets them know that you are available. And also, the other thing that my students have appreciated is that they know they'll get a response from me even if they don't want to set a face-to-face. If they send an email, they know that they're going to get that. So as a teacher, you need to make sure that during your office hours, you're connected and available to meet with them, which means you could jump on a video, you can respond to emails. And what I usually do is if I'm not going to be meeting with students, or I don't have students meeting with me during my office hours, I use that time to work on the course or to grade some of the students' work. So setting those office hours and making sure it's clearly stated when those are, and those should be on a weekly rotation so that they know like every Wednesday at this time you're available, and making sure that it's enough hours to match the rigor of the course you're teaching. If you're teaching a course where there's 1 hour of work a week, then you're going to need several hours of office time to help them. If it's a course where they're only supposed to come on once a week for a short amount of time, maybe you only need a short amount of office hours to kind of match, but take that into consideration. The last little strategy that I think can be an effective way to keep your students engaged is making sure that all of your responses happen in a timely manner. As I mentioned just a second ago with our office hours, as we try to establish a routine, you should have a routine set up with your assessments. Depending on your course strategy, you might have assignments only due once a month or once a week or every day. And so depending on how you have assignments coming in, you want to make sure that they're getting feedback in a timely manner. And this also includes response to emails. So a lot of times it's best practice to set up like a 24-hour email policy, meaning that you'll respond during the work week within 24 hours to any student question from an online class. If you want to, you could still do that over the weekend, but I think it's important that we also have our boundaries with that as well. But setting up that weekly response time is very valuable. As far as the assessment and getting feedback to the students, you want to set that same kind of goal. You should have, depending on the assignment, if you're doing assignments daily, then you should be getting them back assignments within a couple days. If you're doing larger projects that take longer to assess and grade, then you should still be shooting to get those assignments back to them within a week. One of the things that we do know is that if that response time is way past the due date, students forget a lot of what they were working on and why they were doing it. And then they also, it doesn't keep them motivated to hear your thoughts and what you think they could work on or what they're doing really well. So these are 4 strategies that I've used to really help re-engage or keep my students engaged during the middle of an online course. So that, again, that's discussion-based assessments, video conferencing, setting office hours, and making sure that I'm responding to emails and getting grade feedback back to them in a timely manner. Thank you guys, and have a great day.